The Joyful Noise Radio Hour.
Wake up, no time to be sober. Exercise the morning, don't make me do things over. Sleepy eyes, they got me. Sleepy eyes have no time, no time. Have no time for sunbeams. I'll see them in my dreams. Exercise in full speed. You make me do this over. Sleepy eyes, they got me. Sleepy eyes have no time, no time. Have no time to wake up, no time to be sober. Exercise the morning, you make me do things over. Sleepy eyes, they got me. Sleepy eyes have no time, no time. Have no time for sunbeams. I'll see them in my dreams. Exercise in full speed. You make me do this over. Sleepy eyes, they got me. Sleepy eyes have no time, no time. Came home last night. You switched on the light. Strange, but familiar view. So I talk back at you. I take a staircase and walk to the moon. When I open my eyes, I'm in my room. I take a staircase streets, they have a friend. I walk away again. I run to my pet town. The evening treats me kind. I get more than
Marina, thanks for jumping on. Full disclosure to anyone listening to this, Marina and I, we like to have conversations about high strangeness, meaning everything from like UFOs to, psychic abilities, collective consciousness, and, fucking cryptids and life after death and shit like that. So we might get into a lot of that. I want to talk about your music too. I don't know. I don't know where you want to start. I feel like if we start talking about your music, the conversation will naturally evolve into high strangeness.
Yeah, it usually does. Whatever we start talking about, it's leading to that.
It always, that's the process. We start talking about music and then it just always goes to the crazy shit happening at the fringes of science or whatever. So for those who don't know, Joyful Noise released your last record called Pet Town. When was that? 2018, I think?
I think 19.
19.
Yeah.
That was our first time working together. You had one previous album. And that record, I think, took me by surprise. We'll get back to the musical distinction between that record and the new one. Mm-hmm. One thing that I think is a funny characteristic of our relationship, between artist and label is that you have had ongoing personal relationships with people that have later become employees of the label, and you also just sort of like instantly became part of the family in a really like weird natural way. If that makes sense.
That's how I felt.
Yeah. So you're from the Netherlands. I mean, you live in the Netherlands now. And I believe your oldest relationship goes back to Allison, right?
Yes.
So Allison, our digital director, lived in Amsterdam for a while. Weirdly, she met Jess, who's the label project manager, in Amsterdam, independent of the fact that they both are from Indiana. And then they ended up working together at the label, independent of the fact that they already knew each other from Amsterdam. So like Joyful Noise has this weird cosmic connection to Amsterdam for some reason. And I feel like you're part of that.
Yeah, I actually met Allison in the city where I lived for a long time, Nijmegen. That's where she actually lived as well. I don't think she lived in Amsterdam.
Oh, okay. How far is that from Amsterdam?
Well, it's about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Like, that's funny. Adam is always laughing when he asks me, how far is that from that? The answer is always an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Wherever.
Anywhere in the Netherlands is an hour and a half.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But I worked at this underground experimental art space, and Allison, she became a volunteer there.
Oh, cool.
And that's how we met.
That's how she started working at Joyful. I mean, she became a volunteer. She started as an intern, and she was like so insanely overqualified that we had to hire her. And now it's like 5 years later or something. Yeah. I'm trying to remember where our relationship started between you and the label. I don't think it was Allison that like pitched the record to us or whatever.
Really? I think she did. No?
I'm going to search my inbox. Jess is the one who sent me an email on May 1st, 2017.
Huh. Wow, that early.
Yeah. There isn't even a link to Pet Town here. We were just trying to like collect lists of bands that we should keep our eye on or something.
Right.
Yeah, she essentially linked me to Hum, your first record, and just like, what do you think about this? She might be good for the label. And then we discovered that you're Allison's good friend. So like right when we released Pet Town, you actually flew here to the States for our holiday party, right? And that was the first time we met in person.
Yeah, I think that was like, no, actually, I think that the record was...
It was out at that point.
It was out.
Yeah.
It was out. That was like signing it, I remember, signing the print.
Yeah, it was like newly released. But you
Yeah.
made the trip across the Atlantic to attend our holiday party.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that at that holiday party you met your partner,
Yes.
Adam Harding, from Dumb Numbers. And now you guys, and then Adam moved to moved to the Netherlands with you, and he's somewhere in that house at this moment, probably. Anyway, you've got a lot of like coincidental personal connections with this label, I guess, is my larger point. And I just think that's funny.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what it is, but at that time, when I was there, it felt like full circle in a way. Also because when I was a kid, I used to love this show called Eerie, Indiana.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, I was really into that.
It was like a kid's version of Twilight Zone or something, right?
Exactly. It's amazing. It's really good. I still watch the episodes sometimes.
Oh yeah, dude, I gotta check it out.
It's really well written. Yeah.
Try to watch it with my daughter.
Yeah, you should. But anyway, so that show like really inspired me as a kid, and you know, obviously, I used the word eerie.
Is that where you got it? Like, did you take it essentially from that show?
I think, yeah, it created sort of an imagination, and I just love the word. And yes, it came from the show.
Wow. See, that's another weird connection to North Indiana.
When I was there, it felt like, whoa, I'm here now, where I started sort of my imagination. I imagined a world born from this TV show. Then I was there. And especially the moment when I met Dale Crover.
Oh yeah.
Because I was also a huge Nirvana fan as a teenager, you know. I mean, still am. And then that moment was like, whoa, what? Life is super weird.
Yeah. I had that moment with Dale too. Well, I guess I like met him a couple times when I was just a kid, like when I was in high school and just a geeky guy hanging out outside of Melvin's shows. But he would never remember that. Like when I first started actually working with him, and like that was a moment for me too, for the same reason. Like, you know, like Nirvana and the Melvins, or especially the Melvins, are like two of the most formative bands for me. I remember there was a weird moment where Dale texted me randomly, and he said, and it was something to the effect of like, hey, I saw that you're having trouble with your neighbors. My advice would be to kill them with kindness. Every neighborhood has an asshole on the block. And I was like, like if I could have told myself, you know, when I was 14, like I had this dream that Dale Crover was giving me advice about my neighbors.
Yeah, it's super fascinating. I mean, I don't know, like, I guess the world is sometimes quite small.
Yeah.
You think it's big, but for some reason people are connected with each other. And but sometimes I wonder, like, is time echoing backwards into our life, like future happenings?
Right. There are moments that feel like that, you know, where you at least get this sense of time not being real. I guess we know that it's malleable. You know what I mean? I mean, time could be sped up and slowed down based on how fast you travel. That's established science. And so, like, it's not a constant, which is the way that our consciousness sort of interprets it. I definitely feel moments like that all the time, where the future is folding back on itself or something.
Yeah, right. And then you think that maybe you have a desire to do something, or you see a vision in your head and you think, "Ooh, I want that to happen," or that would make me feel happy, but actually it's like already set in
Yeah, like
stone.
you already did it. There's some truth
Mm.
to just like the fact that we create our reality with our observation, even if you don't bring, quantum physics into this, just by virtue of the fact that if you're like constantly intending to do something, to manifest something, it's like all these little like micro actions will sort of just line up towards it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It like totally makes sense. Also, all the little decisions that you make will be directed towards the thing.
Right, exactly. I think a component of that also is like just this human sort of intuition regarding relationships. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel good about working with this person, or if you get a sense of that sort of gut instinct, that intuition, then those people in your lives lead you down the path to realize those goals, I think.
Intuition is super fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's like an evolutionary mechanism that we don't even understand yet.
I'm actually a big fan of this British biologist, scientist.
Yeah, what's his name?
He's called Rupert Sheldrake, and his theory.
Oh yeah, you sent me a link or
Shit, yeah, I did, didn't I? Yeah.
But yeah, tell me about him.
Well, he basically came up with a theory. He calls it morphic resonance. Basically, he believes that there's like a collective memory that we're all connected to, like a cloud,
Is it I mean, is it
about.
related to like the collective unconscious?
It is. I think also Rupert Sheldrake is like also a fan of Jung.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
yeah,
So it's like riffing off that. So I guess Jung was just basically like, there's not really a good explanation for like, inventions happening at the same time in different parts of the world, and like these ideas happening with all these different populations that aren't in communication with one another. And so something's happening, and he called it collective unconscious.
Right. Well, Rupert Sheldrake actually also, he's researching stuff scientifically, which is super fun because, there's lots of scientists who are curious about these subjects, but if you
Right. But they're like, how do we research it? Like, the data isn't falling into my lap, No,
well, that's one thing. But the other thing is that, if you like openly start talking about these kinds of things, your career is pretty much
right. Yeah. Like you're pigeonholed as like a new age quack or whatever.
Yeah, there's so much weird stuff happening, and you can't just be like just ignoring all of that stuff.
Yeah. I feel like with the UFO thing, like that's really had a sea change like in the last 3 years or whatever, where people are just now like scientists are just now recognizing that it is worthy of study, and like the public perception of it is to a point where it's not a career ender necessarily, unless they start talking about fucking reptilians or some bullshit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they're truly just trying to figure out what these things are, like the legitimate ones, like the ones that the Pentagon has admitted. Like now NASA has a fucking UFO thing. Did you see that?
Yeah, I heard about it. Well, it's about time.
See how quickly we got into the weird shit?
I know, right? We said like 3 things about music.
I know. We should. All right, let's get back to the music. Okay, so the new record. First of all, it's like I've been obsessively listening to it. It has a really particular kind of like vibe, for lack of a better word. I wish there was a better word. Okay, so I love your last record, but that record in my mind is not as like, a singular sort of expression the same way that
Yeah.
internal radio is, which is, by the way, the name of the record is Internal Radio.
Mhm.
And like, how did you achieve that?
Well, I think part of it is just getting older. Of course, for my previous 2 records, I worked with bandmates. And
so working as a solo artist was part of that, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, this
exactly.
is, I guess, yeah, this is the first Eerie Wanda where you don't have other players really, except Kramer and Adam.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think that life is different now than it was when I made Bat Down. It's for some reason, I think what I used to do is kind of push dark feelings. I would push them away, not wanting to face how horrible some things can feel when you think about them. And I think I just wanted to look it in the eye. So I kind of like embraced the darker side. And I got a lot out of
but it's
that.
still a beautiful record. It's not a dark album, you know?
It's not, but
I see what you're saying though. It's like
yeah.
I can hear a couple of the Pet Town songs in my head where it was just like really like overtly upbeat or positive or whatever. And this one, it sounds like you didn't feel the need to pretend to be positive.
Yeah, right. Well, I think it's really a lot that band had added to those first 2 records.
Okay. Yeah.
They're just way more that way. I'm more of a goth inside. I mean, not completely, but you know, I'm a little bit different. Yeah. Always felt a little bit like an alien, you know.
Yeah, and you're a deep traveler, as Janacin Gat keeps telling me. That's how he's like. He's always using that phrase. He's like, I think you'd like him. He's a deep traveler, meaning cool. Like he's a guy that can talk about weird stuff and probably does mushrooms or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, do you feel like the poppier elements were sort of your instinctual response to your band members, like trying to sort of just like live in their world a little bit or whatever? Well, for the first record, I didn't really know what I wanted. Like, I feel like it's more of a band album. Yeah, I wrote songs, but I didn't really know exactly how I wanted to do anything. And the Pet Town, I actually stayed quite close to the demos. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I love pop. I love poppy melodies. Yeah. And I think I'm always looking for some kind of melancholy, even if it's poppy song. Yeah, totally. I don't know. It's just an interesting progression. A lot of artists, they kind of go in the opposite way. Like they kind of start out more experimental or personal, and then become more poppy and accessible. Mm-hmm. Not that this new record isn't accessible. I think it's your most accessible, but in a different way. It's like, yeah, it's a special record. sort of primary roles at the label is I guess like fiddling around with sequences and just sort of working with the artist to like make sure that this album is communicating what they want sort of to the audience. So anyway, I work with most of our bands on that level where I at least play a role in helping to sequence their albums and stuff. And usually I've got a lot of notes and I and a lot of requests, you know, for how to sort of recontextualize the album. This one, I like scrambled all the tracks and then like put them in sequence, like where I thought they made sense, and it ended up being the exact same sequence. And so I was like, okay.
Oh my God. We actually had that on Pet Town too. I don't know if you remember. But
oh
we
yeah,
had exactly the same. Yeah. We are connected.
I know, dude. What the fuck? What's
Super
going on?
strange. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of had it like the first time we had a meeting online when I was like before we met in real life. I already felt like, hey, I feel like I already knew you or something, you know?
Maybe it's some
really
past
strange.
life shit. I don't know. I think that like past lives, like reincarnation, those are kind of like bad ways of describing a thing that exists, but we can't really understand yet, you know?
Reminds me of a thing that Eckhart Tolle said, like how you can tell a child, for example, if you're showing it a rose, then you don't say, look, this is a rose, but you say, look, we call this a rose. Which I think is such a beautiful, subtle way of just...
I love that. Yes.
Yeah. It's great because...
Oh my God. I am going to build that into my parenting tactics.
Yeah, it's great, right? It's subtle, but...
Yeah, there's no authority in that or whatever. It's like, we call it this. It, you know, it's like religious terms for a thing.
Yeah.
That we won't be able to understand scientifically until like for another 500 years or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's probably much more related to like collective unconscious or what did your guy call it?
Maybe. Yeah, morphic resonance, he calls it. He's Rupert Sheldrake. He's done a whole research on telepathy between animals also. So one of his things is, how does a dog know when his owner is coming home?
I've heard about this one. Yeah. Explain it. You should go through it.
Well, yeah, like he has like, I think he's had maybe 6,000 of these experiments where he puts a camera in the room where the dog is and the owner goes away. And, you know, in an unexpected time, he tells the owner like, okay, you go home now. And then they go home, but of course not in their car, but like either with public transport or with a different vehicle or with a bike, so that, you know, it couldn't be that the dog hears and also in unexpected moments.
Right.
And,
so,
you know, exactly the moment when he tells the person, okay, you're going to go home, then the dog gets up and goes to the door or the window.
Oh, it's the moment that the owner knows he's going to go home.
Yes.
It is? Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Because when I heard this, I heard this guy talk on a podcast or some shit. And I thought that the dogs just knew ahead of time. Like the dogs just like went to the door, you know, like when he got home, the dogs were at the door. Or whatever. I didn't know that there was any like change in the dog's behavior as soon as the owner knew.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah. So when you think of going home, the dog feels it.
The dog knows.
Have you ever had like crazy telepathy stuff happening?
Telepathy aside, like my life has just been full of insane shit over the last like 2 years, where it's like the best way I know how to describe it is the universe keeps kicking me in the balls and then rewarding me with a related thing that is better than I had before, that
Huh.
I didn't even know could exist, you know? And so it's like it's an upward trajectory. My life is an upward trajectory, so I'm not asking for sympathy here or anything, but it's still a thing where it's like, why do you have to keep kicking me in the balls, universe? You know, like who made up these stupid rules, man? I say that so that I can tell this story. Maybe like, when was it? 2 months ago, something like that. I was driving my daughter Olive to the kid pizza place. You know, she fell asleep in the car seat in the back, so I'm like sort of doing laps around the block, just letting her nap for a moment, basically, like going like 20 miles an hour and shit. Next thing I know, it felt like a fucking bomb went off. You know, every airbag on every side of the car went off, and I like instinctively jumped out of the car and grabbed her. She was totally fine. I was totally fine. And then I looked and like somehow had a head-on collision with an exact replica of my car, like the same colors, same year, same make and model. And I didn't see it at all. Like it was a thing where I truly don't know if they were, and I'll just say it was a fucking Tesla. All right, sorry, I'm a dick. I had a Tesla. I now drive a Volvo because it's the safest car in the history of mankind. I don't know if it was just that person, that other Tesla going an insanely fast speed to the point where I couldn't see them coming, or if my brain sort of saw the identical car and registered it as like a reflection or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Those are my two best guesses for why the accident happened. But, and here's my ESP part of this story. I found out that my best friend Thomas, at that very moment, was watching Inland Empire by David Lynch at the theater across the street from the house, Can.
Yeah.
And he had a seizure at that moment. He's never had a seizure before, but he like had a straight up seizure like at the moment that I got hit.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I know.
That is bizarre. Because you two are, I think, very connected, right? Like
yeah. So, like he's the person I'm like most connected with in the world, other than maybe my daughter, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, we've been super close since we were 14.
Does he remember which scene he was watching when that happened?
I could ask him. He didn't tell me, because like when I got home, he's staying with me right now too. Like he was crashing in my guest room that night, and when I got home, he was like, "Dude, I gotta tell you about this crazy David Lynch film and how I had a seizure." And I was like, "I can't hear about it right now because I just got in a, you know, an insane, you know, life-altering car accident, and I need to take care of Olive." And we were just like, "Oh fuck." And then we realized that it happened sort of at the same moment.
Yeah.
Like he brought it up to me. Like he was like, "I think at that same exact moment, like the timeline is pretty linked, you know." So
yeah.
how about you?
Well, one that is the strangest, most bizarre, is that when Adam was still living in Indianapolis, and so I had a dream. I was here in the Netherlands. I had a dream that I was driving at night, and all of a sudden the car went weird and it broke, and the car stopped, and I was like, at night on the freeway, and the car stopped and smoke came out of the dashboard. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And I was really scared. And I opened the door and I stepped outside. So this was my dream. Next day, I speak to Adam and I say, hey, how's it going? He said, good. But last night, my car broke down and there was all this smoke that came through the dashboard.
Whoa.
I was like, wow, I had that dream that happened to me.
That's crazy.
And thinking about it, it could have even been exactly the same moment because of the time difference. When I was sleeping, it was evening in Indy. Yeah.
Okay, back to music. This is just going to be like a...
Yeah.
So Kramer, the amazing producer and guy who discovered most good bands over the last 20 years or whatever the fuck, and started Shimmy Disc. He flew to your home to record the new record. You guys did everything at your house, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what was that
amazing.
like?
It really, like, I could not have made this album without him. Like, he added amazing stuff to it, and it was really fun. Like, every second of it was really fun.
Did he make it easier for you to strike that vibe of the, like, whatever that sort of singular sort of energy that I was talking about earlier? Was that a thing that Kramer kind of picked up on and helped you achieve?
Yeah, I mean, I think the demos were already, they already had
it. Yeah. So
they already had something, but he is someone who understands that,
Yeah. Didn't he, like, he was just kind of like you don't have to re-record these. Like, you were thinking that you had to, like, re-record everything.
Yeah.
And he was like, we can work from these demos,
Yeah, exactly. I was amazed because also he didn't even like want me to send any songs before he came here.
Oh yeah.
So he works completely in the moment, which is really awesome. Yeah. I would send my files to his computer. He would open them up. He would press play. And immediately he dives into what he is hearing, and he doesn't even hear the whole song from start to finish. He just immediately goes like, oh, I hear this. Oh, this can go here. And it's super exciting.
That's interesting. I didn't know. I've never been in the studio with him. He's a good friend of mine at this point, but it's like, I didn't know that he worked that, or he had ideas that quickly in the studio.
Yeah.
I do know that, I think this is like just a rule he lives by, I guess. I don't like to hear demos before. And it's like, I'd rather be in the moment and like discover these things and talk about it, like right there with the artist,
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday actually I was talking to him and he was talking about the present moment, like that's all we have is art and the present moment.
think this record is much more special because it was crafted in your home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you would have like just used your demos and then gone to like a, you know, stiff recording studio
Yeah.
and tried to recreate it, I don't think you would have got the same energy out of it, you know?
No, that hardly ever works
Yeah.
that way. Because the demos, you know, when I recorded the demos, I never thought, hey, this might end up on the actual song.
Right.
I record the demos because, oh, I have an idea. It sounds nice. I should record it so I don't forget it. That's the only reason that I make a demo. So I put zero effort into making it sound good. I put zero effort in it.
Right,
and
but it was the idea in its purest form.
The idea, yeah.
Yeah. Whoa. What percentage would you say, like, of all the sounds people hear on this new record, what percentage was demo recordings?
Maybe 80 or
Whoa.
70. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
We added some things, we moved around some things, and we removed some things.
But the core recording for every song was a demo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's that thing of like capturing inspiration.
Yeah, it was extremely inspiring and fun. And in the evenings we would watch Get Back documentary, which was also super inspiring. We're the three of us, Adam, Kramer, and me, huge Beatle fans.
Mm.
So yeah,
like seeing him just like come up with that shit, it seems like almost accidental.
Yeah,
like watching them write these songs that are iconic.
Yeah, especially Don't Let Me Down.
Mm-hmm.
Like kept repeating, and like every time they play it, it's like, oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah, but it's also like about the dedication to create, like the search. Like it is an amazing thing about humans, you know. We really want very badly to reach some kind of beauty or capture some kind of feeling that is it's like impossible to really express in words. Music. Mm-hmm. It's
and it's like in their case, I like how they started out with this one idea. Like they were writing music for a televised special or some shit, right? Like that was the whole idea initially.
Yeah, right.
You know? And then it turned into like, we're gonna, you know, play it once in fucking, where was it? Turkey or something?
In London. Oh, that with that whole Egypt. I think it was in Egypt.
Okay. And then they just end up being like, like we'll just play this on the roof of the building that we're in and turn it into an album. The point is, like, that is inspiring to me because you don't always know what the creative process is going to produce. You know, you don't always like, and you shouldn't, you know, like you shouldn't go into an album expecting it to sound a certain way or expecting it to even be an album. You know what I mean? Like it could become whatever, you know? And so like, it was weird to see that them start this project and then it ends up with, you know, with Let It Be.
Yeah, but that's also exactly what me and Kramer did, you know, because I had all these demos, but I was like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. I have no idea. Because I am going to work with Kramer. I never even met Kramer. You know, we talked, but never met him. And how is this going to work out? I have no idea because Kramer doesn't want to hear the demos. So we'll see. And I think really
he was a fan of Pet Town, though. He was a big fan of Pet Town. So I will say that. Like he knew who you were. It was a position sort of match, but yeah, he didn't know these individual songs. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. But yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think the first time I talked to Kramer was when I was in Indy, and we did that Edith Frost cover, and then Kramer mastered it. I think that's how I sort of online met him.
Everywhere I go reminds me of someplace down in Texas, and every time I close my eyes I dream of my old home. And oh, it's getting so cold round here. There's too many cars round here, and though I wanna open up my heart, there's too many parties. Everyone I know reminds me of someone down in Texas, and every strip mall along the highway reminds me of my home. And oh, I'm tired of roaming round. There's too many going down, and though I wanna open up my heart, there's too many parties. Every time I close my eyes, I dream of someone in Texas, and every strip mall along the highway reminds me of my home. And oh, it's getting so cold round here. There's too many cars round here, and though I wanna open up my heart, there's too many parties. And oh, it's always so cold round here. There's too many cars round here, and though I wanna open up my heart, there's too many parties. There's too many cars round here. There's too many cars round here. There's too many cars round here. And too many parties. And too many parties.
I read some in some parenting book that I can't remember right now. I've read something to the effect of like there's a moment when babies realize that they can impact the world, when they can affect the world. Like, you know, whatever it is, they bounce a ball, they spill a drink. When they realize I make this action and then this
Yeah.
and then this thing happens. Like that's the beginning of creativity and kind of what it means to be human. You know?
Right.
Like it's like we are like inherently creative. Like that's an essential component, I guess, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I actually am often in a state where I am flabbergasted, just like just like, whoa, I am alive. I can actually get up and move my legs and walk from here to there. Like these little realizations, they're just so weird. Like, whoa, it's like a computer game when you're when you're in a computer
Yeah.
game and they built this whole world, and wow, you can walk to that woods there, and wow, look how beautiful they made the sun shine on that bush, and that, like I'm often in that state, like whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
That's
that is like I think very important to
Yeah.
know that you can get into that state.
Yeah. Like
Just
maintaining a wonder about the world and
yeah.
a reverence for the beauty happening, like the crazy stuff that everyday crazy stuff. You know?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
remember, all right, and I hate to, bring drugs into this, but I started microdosing LSD like a few years ago.
Mhm.
And I remember I was like microdose, like super tiny amounts. You're not supposed to feel it at all. You know what I mean? That's the whole
Mhm.
point. And I took it for like a couple days, and I was like, I don't think this is working. Like I feel no effect whatsoever. And then I remember I was like walking to lunch or something from the office, and I saw the sun come through tree leaves at a particular time, and I was like, wow, that's really beautiful. Like how the light looks coming through those leaves, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I realized like I would never have had that thought. That was when I was like, oh, the
Yeah.
microdosing is working. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I just realized that's very weird to tell that story considering your cover art.
Oh.
Another weird connection.
What the hell?
The cover art is light coming through tree leaves.
Wow. Wow. My cover art is Carl's first LSD.
No, not my first LSD. My first experiment with microdosing in normal life. I've had
Yeah.
plenty of acid trips before that, but this is like using LSD as a in place of medication, essentially. You know,
Mhm.
instead of fucking Prozac or whatever.
Mhm.
You know, and it's for the record, microdosing LSD or mushrooms infinitely better than Prozac.
I never took acid or mushrooms because I'm actually a bit scared what will happen to me, because I feel like
You're already there. Yeah.
I'm already there. Like daily
Yeah,
I'm tripping.
like most people like me need some help getting to the point where you're
Right.
seeing sunlight through leaves and realizing like, how beautiful it is and appreciating it.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like that's a problem for you. So yeah, I don't know what it would do to you.
Yeah. I don't know.
But also I wouldn't be scared of it, especially not mushrooms.
Mhm.
Mushrooms are like a core component of our biology, I think. Like our ancestors have been doing them for a long fucking time, and
Right.
it's probably one of the reasons we became human. And they're a core component of not just our biology, but like every living thing on this planet.
Exactly.
And anyway, if you're gonna ever go down that road,
Yeah.
I would do psilocybin mushrooms.
I am absolutely fascinated by him, and I've been reading a lot about it and watching documentaries. I mean,
yeah. Did you watch the Fantastic Fungi?
I did. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a good
I
one.
love how that guy, he was talking about
Paul Stamets.
he was like tripping really hard, and he had problems stuttering.
Oh yeah, that's him. Yeah.
After that, he never stuttered again because he told himself, "Stop stuttering, stop."
Right.
It.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know, and it's that type of shit happens.
Mhm.
To bring it back to that car accident, like, so this is the most recent mushroom trip I had, was like after that car accident. I had to be on a plane like the next day, and to only for like 24 hours to like go to Atlanta to see Magic Sword, and then which was amazing and shit, but like I didn't process the
Mm,
accident. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I had no time to do it. And so
Sure.
I went there to Atlanta, I came back the next day. I went to work for like a day and a half, and then I was like, you know what? Like I realized that I couldn't even like talk about it. I couldn't yet sort of describe what happened to people.
Mm.
It like it just felt too raw, and I was like, then I also realized it's like dipping into my deep-seated sort of anxiety stuff that I've
Mhm.
worked through over the last couple of years. It's like a lot of my anxiety that I deal with is all rooted in this like fear of my inability to protect my daughter.
Oh.
And so
Mm.
like so the car accident was like a weird instance of me sort of like
Mm.
running into like head-on collision with my doppelganger and
Yeah.
exposing my most core anxiety. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm taking the week off work, and tripped. Like it was insane. Mushrooms like give you what you need essentially. Like there have been times that I've taken more mushrooms than this and barely tripped. But
Hmm.
this time it was like, full on, alternate universe shit,
Oh.
uh and like deep sort of realizations, and then when I came out of it, I sort of realized that like, whoa, like that would have taken me, a year of therapy to
Whoa.
get through this. In like 8 hours or whatever it was, I was able to sort of understand that what had happened and deal with it and
Mhm.
talk about it and then
Wow.
continue to function.
I saw a documentary where they, in the UK somewhere, they help people who have really extremely bad depression, and they've done all kinds of stuff, but they can't get out of it, and then they give them high dosage of psilocybin,
Yeah.
and like it changed their life.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
absolutely.
someone explained it like in a way that it's when it's as if your brain is snow. There's snow falls, and it covers the paths that you usually walk. So you don't see the paths. So you actually make new paths because you don't see the other one anymore, which I thought was a
Hmm.
nice way, even though I never took it. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a nice analogy, and also kind of describes actual like new pathways in your brain being formed. Yeah.
I don't know. I think also the brain always finds something to be fearful about.
You're right. Like the brain will be fearful of anything if you let it. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
operate that way, you know? I mean, my mom and stepdad are fearful of, immigrants coming across the border or whatever the fuck. It's like something that's not in any way ever going to impact their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I it's funny. So I come from Bosnia. I was born in Bosnia, and it's so funny, man. But like all people that I know from Bosnia, they're all scared of specific things.
Hmm.
Like you are not allowed to go outside if your hair is wet. Like even if it's like a tiny little bit wet,
Why?
because because you'll get a brain infection.
A
Like they're
brain
convinced.
infection.
Yeah. They are convinced that going outside with wet hair it could potentially kill you.
Oh my God, that's some crazy shit.
It's hilarious.
Wow.
Same
And
as
it's not even like defined. It's just brain infect. Like you'll become a
right.
zombie. Yeah.
Yeah, because like someday someone died and
Right. And they had wet hair.
wet hair. Yeah.
And it snowballed from there.
Yeah, and it's still going, you know.
Oh my God.
And the same with walking. Like for girls, like they cannot walk on bare feet because it will infect their ovaries.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they're convinced. So whenever you like enter a Bosnian home, like you should wear socks or
yeah, and make sure your hair is very dry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. Well, I remember when my uncle came and visited us in the Netherlands, and he and my dad were walking outside, and it started raining, like very lightly, and my uncle started running. Like he's like,
no, I'm not gonna get my brain. Oh my God.
So funny. Yeah. Fear. So yeah, they have lots of fear about stuff too.
When did you move to Netherlands? You were essentially a refugee, right?
Mm-hmm. We were refugees. We fled from Bosnia when I was 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we went to Croatia, lived there on an island, so we were safe. My dad went to Germany, and then, like when I was 5, we got the opportunity to go to the Netherlands, and when we arrived, we could stay like in a bungalow park for a few months, and after that, we lived in a trailer. So yeah, could have been way worse.
Yeah. So from the age of 5 onward, you've been in Netherlands,
Right.
Yeah. Well, Marina, it was great talking to you.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you. And I'm so fucking excited for the new record.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks. It was really great talking.
All right. Well, we'll talk soon.
Yeah, talk soon. Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Marina. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Joyful Noise Radio Hour.